Zoey? Good girl. So when I make turns, that was a good example. If you make a turn and she doesn't realize, instead of choking up on your leash and applying pressure, you actually want to release that tension and just give her a pop or say her name so she realizes I turned, right? Zoey, good girl, right? So you're not applying pressure. We have to remember it's very odd in the beginning because you are very used to, as a human walking a dog, having pressure on a leash and wrapping a leash around your hand or, white knuckling like that. You don't want any of that right now. So, Zoey, if we want her to walk on a loose leash, we have to learn how to hold a loose leash and only use pressure when it's allowed and when it's necessary. So, excuse me, the only times we should be using pressure are to communicate specific things to her. And those things are either going to be pay attention or calm down. So you're going to think of it as a traffic light. Right now, we have a green light. Right now, see how that green light just went away? That's my green light. See how it's straight? Right now, we're going to go to a red light, which means we're going to hold 2 fingers worth of pressure, really just a pinky's worth of pressure, until butt hits ground and then pressure releases. So what we just said to her right there was, calm down, you've calmed down, right? So that's your red light. Okay, and now we can move forward. If she passes right there, pressure is going to naturally turn on, so I'm going to do a yellow light. So when I turn, I can give her a pop and release. Okay, the release is so important. What most people want to do is solid tension when they're trying to do a yellow light and they do this. But that's not, see how she was kind of pulled her head around like that? We don't want to see that, right? So we just want her pop release to say, hey, pay attention, you didn't realize, right? So it's all about, right there, slow down a little bit. But you have to release tension in order for this to work. So what I always tell people is to try and hold this just on the tips of your fingers, on the top knuckle, where it can slide. You don't want to close your hand because what happens when you close your hand is pressure is going to apply when you don't want it to, okay? So you have to have this loose in order for you to be able to do that, okay? If there's no tension and she turns and there's solid tension and there's no release, it's not going to make any sense. So it's basically like telling her if you pull her around a turn. So it's like, oh, good girl. So she's paying attention now, right? But if you pull her around a turn, or if you make a right turn and she doesn't realize and you pull her, what's going to happen is you're telling her that solid tension means you need to basically go into a sit position or calm down. But you're also saying it means follow me. So you're telling her it means red light and green light, which is not fair. You're telling that's basically like teaching her, I'm telling you to run a red light right now. There's solid pressure and I want you to move. So that's not fair to what she's learned, right? So we have to make sure that we are now using the leash appropriately and using it a lot less than you're going to expect to. You have to understand that Zoey is now following your lead as a handler, and the leash is just a seatbelt. You are the one that is driving the car. Your seatbelt is just there in case of an emergency where you need to say, hey, right? And just that. That's all it should be used for. But other than that, we're in a perfect spot to demonstrate this right now. I can get a dog to walk with me without using any leash at all, right? Even with a distraction. Come on, Zoey. So right there, when she tries to get ahead, Zoey. Come on, Zoey. Right, so I'm not using any pressure. I could drop this leash right now, and it wouldn't make a difference. Zoey, good girl. Right, it's a seatbelt. It's there just in case, but she is following me. So right there, when she tried to take the lead, I took it right back by turning. So you can always stop, red light, pop, yellow light, or change directions. So if your dog is walking and they're straight, they're ahead of you. If I turn and go this way, now she's way behind me, right? But you can't pull her to go. You have to say, come on, honey. Good girl. Or you give her just a little pop and release to say, whoop, you didn't realize I turned. without needing to use verbal cues. So when we first got here, she was definitely overwhelmed. She was panting. Good, how you doing? She was panting. She was a little nervous. The back leg was even shaking for a minute. So I didn't just bring her right into a situation that she was uncomfortable with. You can see she's much calmer now. She's not, very happy now. But just working her, just like I showed in the other video, where you're going to want to make sure you get her attention and start working her outside in the parking lot before you even walk in, because walking in is it's a step up the ladder. If she's not doing good in the parking lot, she's not going to go good in the store. So get her attention outside where you guys can kind of do a lot of turns and, sit stays and come and doing whatever you need to do to get her to focus on you as a handler. Using high value treats. I always bring hot dogs with me whenever I go out into public, because we want to make sure that we have a treat that is not something that she gets on a normal basis, so that it's extra exciting when there's a really tough distraction that I know I'm going to need to work her through. Ooh, hey, buddy. Good girl. That was beautiful. Tight corners and everything like that. She did great passing him. Not a single issue. And it was all handling skills for that. If I had gotten nervous or, tensed up on this leash, that pressure means something to a dog now. So, see right there, when she went to go the other way, most people would pull their arm towards them and say, like, oh, come this way. But I actually extend my arm and release tension so I can go, good girl. Right? So it's almost like you're doing the opposite of what you're used to doing. But if you think of it, that makes sense, because what you were doing before wasn't working out very well. So we have to try using a different handling skill now and a different tool that she now understands. So even stuff like that. See how I let it slide out of my hand so that she didn't apply tension just by walking over there by accident, where she smelled something good and she was just like, ooh, see, if I close my fist, now there's solid tension. But really all I need to do is just go, come on, honey. It's just a little pop, right? So again, learning how to hold a loose leash is very important. And then Zoey is a sweet, sweet girl. She's very smart. She gets it. Honey. See right there how I released tension? I didn't add tension just because she was going the wrong way. It almost seems opposite, right? You're like, wait, so she's going the wrong way. I release tension? Yeah, you want to release tension so that you have a way to pop, if that makes any sense. Let's try and get her to... Yeah, but I don't need to use any force. Perfect. Right? I released the tension. I didn't add tension. See how all I had to do was close my fist, and it adds that much tension. Oops, see, this is a good example. I was holding it so loose, I didn't even realize I dropped it. Right? Zoey. Zoey, good girl. Right? Come on, honey. So, good job, lovey. He's such a good girl. So yeah, I mean, that just shows you can definitely do off-leash healing with her. It's all about building a trusting working relationship, that she understands that she's following your lead, and that you're not just following behind her and her doing whatever she feels like in that moment. She has freedom with me right now. She can sniff around. I'm not in a perfect heel with her, and that's fine. I'm giving her a little bit of freedom at the moment. Even with that freedom, she's choosing to stay right next to me because she knows that I'm in control of the situation. Hello. So yeah, there you have it. She's doing a fantastic job. I definitely think with just a little bit of practice, isn't she though? With just a little bit of practice on your part, you guys will have a great time with her. She'll be easy peasy, as you can see. She doesn't really have very many things that she gets super distracted by. It's just all about making sure that she's confident in her handler. So I hope that helps. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we will see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye, guys.